How's it going, guys? Welcome back, and I hope you're doing well. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to go over our next installment of how to level. So in this one, I'm going to go on how I like to level the dual wield. The first video I did was with the how I like to level greatsword. So that being said, a couple things before we get into it. One, as some of you may know, I do like to do unscripted content, so if it does get a little long-winded, I will be sure to post the chapters down below. And I segmented as far as the mastery levels go as well. Second, because I'm going to keep this one a little bit shorter than my greatsword one, um, for my approach. So as far as instead of just reiterating, as far as my approach to my main stats, mastery points, and kind of just uh, the differences between my leveling and yours, please go ahead and just check out the greatsword video. My intro there was pretty lengthy just because again I kind of had to lay out a couple things as far as this series goes. Just a quick overview, my approach to main stats as far as vitality and your main endurance, things like that, and then my mastery points are going to be a little different than yours, just because when I'm playing the game and I'm leveling the weapon, I'm not going to be fighting as much because I won't be dying as much, right? This goes more for new players. So because you gain mastery level points by engaging in the combat system, brink guarding, dodging, hitting your enemies, that's how you gain your mastery points. I'm going to be fighting bosses and going throughout the game with a little less than. So just keep that in mind. But I'll also be sure to try to let you know which skills that I get in between screenshots. Um, so other than that, also, just a quick another disclaimer. If you're afraid of spoilers, I'm just gonna do a quick slideshow of the progression of the tree, in case you don't, you're a new player and you just want to see, how leveling works before you get into it. You do that here. If you're a returning player or a more experienced player and you just want to pick up dual wield, you can also just look at this overview as well. Now, some points I do again with dual wield more than greatsword. I do kind of respec my points in, but when I gain a new mastery level tier, so we'll go over that as well. So that guy's cool. Let's get into it. So at the first fight with Blade Phantom, oh, and I'm also going to give these, as soon as I unlock that tier of the skill tree, that's the boss that I will be fighting. So I'll show that along with the boss. My stats as well. So for the first fight, Blade Phantom, and you can see my mastery level is just 2 there. The first couple things that I really like early on is I like having Howling Blade because that gives us our potent blow. Well, technically it's a swift attack, but it gives us our chaining option for our main combo. Other than that, I do really like Massive Blow and Outrage. This is really helpful just for general mobbing, right? Just kind of clearing the game, general mobbing, staggering enemies, just kind of getting through the map until you get to the boss. It is useful for boss fights too, but it's mostly, for me, I really like it just for the general mobbing. And then for Blade Phantom, you'll see I also do Brink Guard initially with Blade Phantom because you can't do a really dodge-heavy playstyle in the beginning. I mean, you can, but it's definitely better the farther you get. Now, a couple notable things here as well. There's a lot of really, really good skills in the very top of the dual wield tree and the level 2 row. Now, again, I have very limited skills here because, I'm just right there in the beginning of the game, haven't really died, so I hadn't fought many enemies. A couple things that I would advise are really good to pick up here. Definitely is Ironclad if you want to save some stamina on Brink Guarding, that's really good. Nimble Blitz is also really good in the Penetrate tree. Aggressive Action and Deafness, also really good. Now, these do consume, again, they do consume more stamina, but if you're stuck on Blade Phantom for a little bit, definitely go ahead and pick those up. They're really good skills. Another good option is to put more points in Howling Blade. because Howling Blade, that's going to allow you to save more stamina or use less stamina. In essence, what that's going to do is extending your stamina bar, so it allows you more DPS per stamina bar. Another really good skill that I get, in between Blade Phantom and Viper is Blazing Assault. Blazing Assault is really, really good because if you hit the previous swift attack, the fourth swift attack in your chain, your combo chain, then Blazing Assault is free. It costs 0 stamina, and it's really, really good. It has a good amount of stagger, and it has very solid damage. And again, it costs 0 stamina if you hit the previous swift attack. So nothing but bonuses there. Now, other than that, we're going to move on to our second tier. Now, again, moving on because I unlocked the next tier, the level 10 tier there of the tree, once I hit Aratra. So in between Aratra, we have Viper and Volby. In between there, what I like to do, and you'll see here when I put the Aratra skill tree up, in between those bosses, going into Aratra as well, I like to complete my playstyle, which I really like to play dodge heavy and negate damage with Howling Blade more than anything. So I really don't use very many spirit skills early on with Dual Wield. So as you can see here, I respect a little bit. I took out the Brink Guard skills in the skill tree. I took those out and I put some more points in Howling Blade to give me that. I picked up Blazing Assault, and you can see I picked up a lot of points in my stamina back, Cold Blood Stamina. That is an insanely good skill, which is going to allow you to gain stamina back on Brink Dodge. This is very important to fueling the aggression that Dual Wield allows you. And again, I did want to just revisit the second tier real quick, or the first unlockable tier, because you're going to see those points filled out because I had those skill points to spend. Now, again, that's so important because the next tier down, I don't really get a lot of skills here, right? As you can see. The most important skill in this second unlockable tier that you're going to take note of is the second tier of Howling Blade. This is crucial to our playstyle with Howling Blade, right? This allows us to negate damage with Howling Blade. This also, when you negate damage this way, acts as a Brink Dodge. So that's why it synergizes very well with Cold Blood Stamina and all the other Brink Dodge benefits that we're going to have on our gear set. Now, the other skill you're going to see over there is to increase our iframe window for our agility rating, which is really, really good. The other notable things here in the second row that sometimes I like to get just to put 1 point in, just a devil, is Wind Piercer. Wind Piercer is pretty cool. It's a nice gap closer if you want to, like if you hit a neutral nimble blitz, throw a projectile, you can get back in and re-engage with with Wind Piercer. Excuse me. Which is, again, it only costs 2 spirit, and for the most part, we're not really using any spirit skills still because the base moveset, you could call it the stamina moveset, I guess, if you will, with the dual wield weapons are insanely good, very versatile, and you really don't even need spirit skills to play with this weapon. I'll be honest with you. They really give you all of the tools necessary, to negate damage, maintain aggression, and deal really good damage yourself. Another notable thing here in this next tier here is going to be Flash Cutter. Flash Cutter is a really good skill. It can be used as a solid way to basically like a get out of jail free card. I personally don't get it though until I unlock the last tier so I can use a brutal attack. Now, if you don't feel comfortable yet using this or you want some spirit skills, a couple good skills to get is going to be Breeze Dash in the second tier, Wind Piercer, and definitely Gust and Flash Cutter. But I wait to get in my spirit skills because I like to again, this is just my skill tree here. I like to make the neutral game or the stamina moveset of Dual Wield up to par as fast as I can. Now, again, you're probably going to have a little bit more mastery points than I do. So if you have a couple surplus, definitely throw some in there. Get some spirit skills going if you want. Now, moving on to the next tier, you can see that I pick up a couple additional skills. Now, again, Dual Wield, this video is going to be a little different from Greatsword because I respec so much, I kind of have to jump around. So once we unlock the next level, there's a couple things that you really want to make sure you get. One is the last tier of Howling Blade. This allows you to basically chain any part of your Swift Attack or Howling Blade combo into your Howling Blade forward dash finisher at any point. This is very, very good for chaining damage negation moves together. And moving on from there, you're going to see Phantom Sword Dance. Now, Phantom Sword Dance, think of this as Phantom Knight's Veil from Greatsword. This is a buff that you want to have on at all times. Now, you'll see I only have 1 point in there, and I'm comfortable with only 1 point in there because additional points, all they're going to do is increase the duration that the buff is active. Now, because I don't use a lot of spirit skills, but I get spirit back on brink dodge, I do not run into any spirit issues with Dual Wield. So having 1 point in there is fine, and I can continue to refresh that and spend that 2 spirit whenever, because I will have a surplus. Now moving on in that row, there's another really good skill that you're going to want is Deafness Lightfoot. I don't have it on here specifically because I wanted to wait on it a little bit. And the reason why is because Deafness Lightfoot, what it actually does is, it does exactly what it says. It increases your dodge distance, which is really, really good, and it increases the damage, or basically enhances the deafness dodge attack. Now, what it doesn't tell you, though, is this, grabbing this node, or this second tier of deafness, basically, it increases the stamina cost of dodging and your deafness dodge. So dodging in general. It basically adds on a third of the stamina. So whatever your stamina cost is, it basically adds a third to that. It can be kind of expensive to dodge after that, but because you're getting your stamina back on brink dodge, it doesn't make as much of a difference when you brink dodge, but if you regular dodge, especially if you're playing hardcore, you're really going to feel the impact of that. Now, right next to that is the second tier of Gust. I personally only get Gust when I unlock this tier because this is a very, very good skill and it allows us to negate damage using Gust. So with Gust just by itself, it's kind of meh, right? It's not as useful to spend a spirit point on it, in my opinion, but once I unlock this second skill, it allows us to negate damage with it, which makes it very, very useful. And I'll also take this opportunity just real quick to mention these skills. I will be giving a brief overview of the skills, but if you want a more in-depth guide to every skill, please check out my other videos. I do a more in-depth guide to every skill and why you should use it. But here I'm just going to give more of a brief overview as we move along. All right, now right next to that, that's going to allow us to get, and you can see I only put 1 point in there for now, because again, I don't really have any spirit issues with Dual Wield. That's going to allow us to get spirit back on brink dodge. So it's really useful, especially just to maintain that spirit. If you have spirit back on brink dodge in the common tree, you can kind of, you can play either one of those. I like to just do it here in the Dual Wield tree, so I have all of my points, kind of in the same area. Now, other than that, a couple notes on the skills to the right. Reversal, you also get the second tier. I don't get reversal until I get the last tier, because that's going to allow us to actually negate damage and interrupt our own combos, but that's not going to be here yet. But then we also get access to Zephyr. Now, I personally don't use Zephyr. I don't really like the skill very much. Its recovery frames are kind of long. There's a couple ways to negate the recovery frames, but it doesn't really fit into my playstyle personally because I like to let the enemy attack into me, and to fuel my playstyle, I have to have the enemy attacking me. If I break the enemy's stance or if I stun lock them, especially a new game, if I'm not going to regen stam when I'm using spirit skills, I need the enemy to attack me so I can brink dodge, so then I can gain my stamina back and I can keep attacking. Now, speaking of Zephyr though, Zephyr is really strong, especially if you're using Reflection. What this is going to allow you to do is a really common combo that you're going to see people use with Dual Wield is you can use Reflection, and then you can use Zephyr to get behind your enemy, and then you can hit Ruthless, or you can do backstab damage, you can do a combo, whatever you need to do, hit Whirlwind. Really, the choice is up to you. Once you break their stance with Reflection and hit Zephyr, you're going to be able to just dump your Spirit and or Stamina bar and get that backstab damage and then Brutal Attack. It's a very common playstyle. It's kind of like the textbook Dual Wield, right? So Zephyr's really strong. I definitely recommend you give it a shot, see if you like it. Personally, it's just not for me, so you're going to see I don't put any points into that. Now, the next tier down, next unlockable tier, I'm just gonna kind of mend those together, those last two tiers, because the last tier we only get access to a couple skill upgrades, then one additional skill. So with the last tier here, we're gonna get access to the last tier of Ruthless. Oh, excuse me, the second last, sorry, level 26. We're gonna gain access to the next level of Ruthless, which gives us our stamina back, half of our stamina back, once we hit that final attack of Ruthless. Very good, very good. Ruthless is a really good spirit skill. I just don't really get it because there's so many other points I could put into the skill tree that I think I can get more benefit from and have more fun with. But Ruthless is a really good skill, especially if you want to use it after Ruthless, or after Zephyr, excuse me, or if you want to just burn one spirit point and get a pretty good amount of damage for like an exhausted enemy or a stance broken enemy, wherever you want. Getting your stamina back, half of the stamina spent with the second tier, is very, very good. That's part of the reason why they put it so far down on the skill tree. Now the second tier of Wind Piercer, you see I don't get that here. I use most of my points here go into the rest of my skill tree, but I'll get over that, and I'll get to that in a second. Yeah, going on down the row, the second tier of Wind Piercer is really good because it changes the Wind Piercer attack, but also allows the axe to spin a little bit, do some additional damage. Really cool. And now the second tier, moving on from there, the second tier of Breeze Dash is next. Now this is really, really strong. Now Breeze Dash is a very good skill. You can negate damage with it, and the second tier is insanely strong because it gives you some after image strikes once you successfully negate damage, which absolutely nuke your enemy's stamina bar. They're very strong. I do go over it more in depth in my Breeze Dash video, so if you want to learn more about Breeze Dash, please go check that out. But for this video's sake, just know that if you use Breeze Dash, that is definitely a node that you want to pick up. Now moving on from there, we have our final tier of Gust. If you are a Gust enjoyer, please grab this skill. This allows you to do a follow-up attack with Gust. It allows you to have a second input, basically, so it allows you to do one Gust to negate damage, then a second one for additional damage. This is really strong, especially once you fully level up the Gust skill to give you excuse me, to give you more damage on exhausted enemies. So if you negate damage with Gust, then you can hit the follow-up and you'll only spend one spirit point, because when you negate damage with Gust, you get that first spirit point back. So going along from there, we have another skill that increases our iframes in regards to our agility rating. Very strong, definitely want that. And now we have one more skill here, two more things to note. As you'll see, I read to respec a little bit. This here, once I unlock the third level of Reversal, This is where I get all of them at once. So two things I want to note on reversal. One, the second tier is really good if you brink guard a lot, because that way it allows you to brink guard, use blowback vengeance, which is our brink guard counterattack, our quick counterattack skill, and then blast out shockwaves immediately. Very cool skill if you're a brink guard enjoyer. But the third tier, which we're going to talk about here, is absolutely what you want. That is going to allow you to hit reversal and dodge and interrupt your own attacks at any point. It's a very, very crucial skill to allow you to really continue attacking at any point, and then you can dodge out if you get in trouble. You can also time it to where it's going to allow you to sneak in an additional hit, even though at face value it may seem like you're getting greedy, but in reality you're just slipping in another attack where you usually wouldn't be able to, and then you can successfully dodge and attack at the same time. Again, now reversal, there's a lot that goes into reversal and its application. It can feel clunky at first because of the slow recovery frames, but it's very, very useful. I do also have a video on reversal. Please give that a look if you are confused about it. Now, other than that, one more thing in this row here is the second tier of Flash Cutter. This is really good because it allows you to use the Flash Cutter parry. So normally you negate damage with Flash Cutter by just starting up the skill, and then if they hit you during your startup, you just negate damage. But this actually allows you to launch the attack into the enemy, and when you do that, it's going to count as a, well, it doesn't count as a parry or brink guard, but it will break their stance usually, and it will deal additional damage. So we really like that. Now moving on real quick, I'm just going to go over the last tier here. The last, very, very last row, because I want to just blend these together from left to right. You're going to gain the last tier of Ruthless, which is going to give you Unbreakable Poise. Personally, I don't really, I mean, our goal is to not get hit, right? If you do get hit, having Unbreakable Poise can be nice, but again, you're going to take damage, and if you keep using Ruthless while they're hitting you, you could just die. I'll leave that up to you and your playstyle, however you'd like to do it, but just know that's what that last one is there. Then the next one to the right is the last tier of Wind Piercer, which is very, very good. So this does two things. One, it makes Wind Piercer cost an additional spirit point, so it's 3 spirit points cost instead of 2, but the damage is well worth it. This makes the axe continuously spin on the enemy after you hit Wind Piercer, and it does persist for a good amount of time. It does very good persisting damage, and because it's continuing to deal damage, it's continuing to do attribute damage and attribute buildup. So if you really like the Furious Bandit set, Crushed Dream set, whatever the case, or Frozen Mountain Helmet, you like Cold, it's really good for attribute buildup, attribute damage, status effects, so on and so forth. But it is also just good even just plain. Moving on from there, the last tier of Breeze Dash. Again, if you're a Breeze Dash enjoyer, this is going to give you an additional input of Breeze Dash, so you could do 3 Breeze Dashes in a row rather than just 2. Very, very nice. Next over, it's a skill. It basically allows you to regain poise if you get staggered or knocked down, to basically reset while dealing an attack as well. The reason why I don't like the skill, though, is because it costs a spirit point, and I don't, again, our goal is to not get hit. Also, it can, if you're not used to it, it can mess up your fight. You know, if you're not paying attention to your spirit, you think you have spirit to do things, but it can be easy to lose track of that, right? Because it does cost a spirit point every time if you get hit, so just keep that in mind. Then the very last one, and this final tier here, is going to be the last tier of Flash Cutter. This personally is when I invest points in Flash Cutter, because I like to use Flash Cutter the majority of the time for the brutal attack aspect. It's very, very cool. I would definitely recommend using it for any dual wield player, no matter what your playstyle. It's so fun. It's one of the coolest looking skills in the game. Definitely give it a shot. All right, so other than that, guys, that's all I got for you. I kind of, again, I wanted to go through all the tiers for you. Um, this isn't going to be, I'm not going to do a gear set video. I'm going to do more builds for dual wield, especially beginner dual wield sets, because, there's a couple that a lot of people know of already, Butcher, uh, Furious Bandit, Slayer. Big fan of Furious Bandit, especially for new players, but that's in times to come. I think I'm going to do a whole video on beginner gear sets and which one you should choose. But other than that, yeah, guys, that for the most part, that is the skill tree. Again, just to be clear, I do respec quite a bit, as you can probably see throughout the the slides of the skills. Where I reallocate points, where I reinvest points. Because with dual wield, in between each tier, when you have no other points to invest in, if you're not investing in the common tree, there's not, you have select points, but you really put a lot of points into the same skill, right? So like deafness, lightfoot, or I'm sorry, fleet-footed, right? Reduced dodge stamina cost, more dodging or more stamina back on brink dodge, spirit on brink dodge, right? Howling blade, stuff like that. Yeah, so that, guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that you enjoyed the fights. And again, if you're a new player, I hope that you're enjoying dual wield as well. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I'll be more than happy to help you out or clarify any questions that you may have on my skill tree or when you should reinvest your points, reallocate XYZ. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.